Faith. Believing in something with no evidence. Is that ever a good idea? I don't think so. What I'm really wondering is how a Christian can read the life and times of Jesus Christ in the books of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and learn anything about faith from those stories. My point is this. Jesus was constantly going around providing evidence to prove, to back up what he was saying, who he was. Okay? He was like raising people from the dead. He's walking on water. Even dying on the cross and then coming back to life. These events would be viewed as evidence to those people at that time. Okay? Example. Book of Matthew, chapter 8. Jesus is in a boat with his disciples. Big storm comes up. Disciples freak out. Think they're going to get wiped out by the storm. They run up to Jesus, who's just chilling, and says, "This storm's going to wipe us out." Well, Jesus actually calls them out on their lack of faith. He's like, "You guys don't have any faith." So then what does he do? He stands up, performs some magic, and stops the storm. Okay? He provides them evidence that he is who he says he is with his supernatural powers. Now, if he wanted to teach these dudes anything about faith, he would have called them out on their faith, which he did, and then he would have sat back down and rode out the storm. You know? That would have taught them more about faith than going, "You don't have any faith," and then getting up and stopping the storm. See, he provided them with evidence that that's who he was. Jesus died on the cross, coming back in 3 days, walking around, doubting Thomas, showing the wounds in his body to prove, to give them evidence that that's who he is, and that's what he was, and that he held this power, and so on and so forth. The whole thing is about evidence and proof. He's constantly trying to prove that he is who he says he is with evidence. And now, modern day Christians hammer away at this faith thing. Faith, 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 faith. Believing without evidence. To me it seems like contradictory dogma. Jesus is constantly trying to prove with evidence who he was, and then calling people out for not having faith. And so now you got to just have faith. I mean, Hurricane Sandy clobbered part of the East Coast not that long ago. This huge tempest, and there was no divine intervention. People died. That would have been a perfect opportunity to prove that there's a God and Jesus is out there and he's got the power. But stuff like this happens over and over again. There's no evidence. There's no proof. But people say, well, you just got to have faith. But Jesus, his example was evidence, evidence, evidence. Proof. To me, it just seems like yet another biblical contradiction of sorts. Anyways.